तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल.
First of all, good morning to one and all present here. And before that, I would like to thank Colonel Sir at the same time, Ma'am, to give me an opportunity to present a presentation in front of you. So, without wasting any further time, I would like to start. So, you could have been seeing the very first slide in front of you, and it has a definition. Here, habit testified. It is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become a little bit automatic. Now, you have listened this word in everyday life in a number of places. For example, good athlete has a habit of exercising daily. Knowledgeable person reads every day. Virat Kohli always eats healthy. And the person who gets handsome returns has a habit of saving every month. You could have also read about your ideal self in the Nehru sir's blog or the book that is the practical guide to become an officer, and where you are supposed to initiate some new habits at the same time delete some of the bad ones which you are following. However, the whole topic ends here. All this change is very hard. Even Stephen Covey has said habits can be learned and unlearned, but it is very hard. So today, this I am here to make it all easy. Moving ahead, you could see that I have created this habits made easy with reference to a book known as Atomic Habits by James Clear, and also there are instances of Colonel Sir's book that is a practical guide to become an officer. Now, before starting anything, let me convince you of the charisma of tiny changes. Here, I am going to narrate you a simple story of Dave Brailsford. Dave became the coach of British bike riding team 2003. Fine then. So in 2003, he has been made. And what has been the past of this particular team is, I will say, very mediocre or average. In the last 100 years, this team has only won one Olympic gold medal. And there is a one also very prestigious competition known as Tour de France, and they have performed was into it. They haven't won any. Now, what happened here? This Dave person come, let me tell you what he does. First of all, he does a number of things. Number one, he redesigned the bike seats to make them more comfortable. He put alcohol on the tires for a better grip. He provided them some overshots to maintain ideal muscle temperature for best healing during their workout, and also some biofeedback sensors. They get to know the feedback how a particular workout is affecting a particular person. Again, he moved not only he doesn't stop there. He moved even to some very small and specific details. That is, he selected some of the clothes that were lighter and more aerodynamic, made from more aerodynamic fabric. He also selected a massage gel which brings fastest muscle recovery. He too hired a surgeon and told them how to wash hands so that they didn't catch cold. He painted the team truck white from inside. That is, it would be easy for them to spot little bits of dust, which make it unnoticed, but it can harm a very finely tuned bikes. Not only here he ends, he does a hundreds of similar changes. And before I will summarize this philosophy or concept, let me tell you the results, because results convince more. And here are the results. Results are remarkably fast. I would say कि in 2008 Olympic itself, 60% of all the biking medals were won by this British team under Dave. In 2012 London Olympic, they set 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. Wait, it doesn't end here. In 2000, from 2007 to 2017, the British team won 178 world championships, 66 Olympic and Paralympic gold medals, and 5 Tour de France. Now, how does this happen? Ordinary team into a consistent world champions? This all happens just because of a philosophy. This philosophy that Dave used, and this philosophy is known as the aggregation of marginal gains, which is the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. Brailsford used to say that the whole improvement came for the idea that if you broke down everything you can think of that goes into riding a bike and then improve it by 1%, you will get significant increase when you accumulate all this together. So this was the Dave's philosophy, and you could have seen the very visible results that he has shown here. However, most of us underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis, which Colonel Nehru sir used to say every day. So too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action, some earth-shattering action. So whether it is losing weight, developing general knowledge, writing essays, winning a championship, or achieving any other goal, we put on ourselves to make some very big improvement that everyone will talk about. So we fail to understand that 1% of improvement is going to bring remarkable result. Thankfully, where we fail, math doesn't. So what math says here, you could have been seen that here is a math. If you are going to 1% better every day for the whole 1 year, what you are going to become, you could see you are going to become 37 times the person you are right now. And 37 times, if you become, I think it would be a charisma. From now, I think I am very clear that I have convinced you all how tiny changes can bring remarkable results. Today, I am here full of tiny changes and the fundamentals, how to apply them. So beginning with the very first, going upon the fundamentals of habits. So you could have seen that the process of building a habit can be divided into four simple steps. Is the first point, and of course, it is a very scientifically proven thing. And I think in order to prove the scientific legitimacy of it, it will cross the time of our activity. So I think we should not go over it. We should focus upon how to use them for our own benefit. So this four-step pattern, that is cue, craving, response, and reward, is the backbone of every habit. And your brain runs always through these steps in the same order each time. Now, what is a cue? Cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It is a bit of information that predicts a reward. Our prehistoric ancestors used to pay attention to cues that signaled the location of primary rewards like food, water, shelter. Today, we spend most of our time learning cues that predict secondary rewards like money, power, status, praise, approval, love, friendship, or a sense of personal satisfaction. So we are always in a search of these cues. These are triggers that initiate a particular action. Then comes the craving. Cravings are the motivational force or desire behind every habit. Without craving a change, we have no reason to act. For example, you do not want to turn on the television, you want to be entertained. That is why you do so. Response is the actual habit we perform. Response occurs depends upon how motivated we are and how much friction is associated with the behavior. For example, if a physical activity requires more energy, then your response will depend upon how motivated and capable you are to perform. Fine. Moving ahead to the second last point, that is reward. The response delivers a reward, and rewards are the end goal of every habit. The cue is about noticing the reward, the craving is about wanting the reward, and the response is about obtaining the reward. We always chase rewards because they serve two purposes. They satisfy us, first thing, and second thing, they teach us which behavior to repeat to get the reward. This is the human behavior, and I have told you about the fundamentals of habits. Now we are ready to formulate laws based upon these fundamentals, which will guide us to make new habit formation super easy, at the same time making ourselves easy to remove the bad habits that we have. So moving ahead, that is you can say Q. So Q was our very first part. So every moment, I have told you earlier that our brain is analyzing our environment consciously or unconsciously for cues to satisfy your needs or rewards. For example, seeing a phone, you want to check social media or you feel hungry at certain part of day. One is the conscious one and the second one is the unconscious one. Over time, what happens? These cues that spark our habits become so common that they are essentially invisible. The treats, for example, the treats in your kitchen, or for example, the remote control next to your sofa, the phone in your pocket, or responses to those cues are so deeply encoded that it may feel like the urge to act comes from nowhere. For this reason, we must begin with the process of behavior change with awareness. So I would say first thing first, it is the background we are creating for following habits, and that is getting a habit scorecard. This habit scorecard, you can frame it in very simple way, like take a piece of paper, and whatever you do from morning to when you wake up to the time you go to sleep, write it down. Whatever, including a morning course, including a routine, whatever it is, write it down whether it is your bad habits even, you can write all of them down. You can rate the habits as plus, minus, or zero. Plus would be the habits that you want to I will say increase or strengthen. Negative for those you want to delete, or zero, that is neutral, that are your morning goals or like that are necessary and even they are not going to give you much. So this is way you are going to get aware of it. By this awareness, we are going to follow our laws, and by this laws, we are going to achieve our habits in a super easy format. Moving ahead, the first law of behavior changes, make it obvious. So why it is obvious? So before explaining what it is, let me give you one more example. In 2001, 248 people were selected for a research on developing good exercising habits, and they were divided into three groups. Group one was called Ki you all have to just do one thing. You have to keep a track on how often you exercise. Group two was called, and they were asked to read some motivating stuff like how exercise can benefit them, some of the very good muscle builders of the areas, and like that they were given some motivational sessions and books. Group three was called to follow a strategy known as implementation intentions, and they were told that you will partake at least 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of vigorous exercise at a particular day, at a particular time, and at a particular place. This particular thing was very well defined in their routine. Now, here are the results. In the first and second group, 35 to 38% of people exercise at least once per week. Interestingly, the motivational presentation given to the second group seemed to have no meaningful impact on behavior. But 91% of the third group exercised at least once per week, more than double the normal rate. The sentence they filled out is known as implementation intentions, which is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. This is how you intend to implement a particular habit, because it is so that time and location are the best cues. If you have provided a particular behavior or a particular habit, a particular time and particular location, you would more probably your odds of following that particular thing would increase definitely, because this is the cue your brain will trigger you to follow. And gentlemen, this is just the beginning. I will tell you more ways. This is just the start. So we have to go from a start, and that is to first get that habit trigger in front of you. So this way you can, by using this implementation intentions, that I will perform this particular behavior at this time and at this location. Second thing is habit stacking. Habit stacking is a very, I would say ki, a very easy process, and you can make any habit in your routine by using this habit stacking formula. And how it is work ki, give me an example. Sit ki after I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful to. So what will happen if you want to make a habit of becoming a more grateful person? So this helps ki say one thing you are grateful to or that happened today. So you have stated this habit with a habit that you always follow. You always have your dinner, and you have said that ki after I sit down on dinner, I will say this thing. Second thing you can do ki after doing brush, I will fold two of my clothes. This way you brush every day, and since you are brushing every day, you are adding with one additional habit that ki meanwhile brushing or after brushing, I will fold two of my clothes. This will make you a more organized person. These are just examples. Your creativity is immense. You can use it for your own benefit. Any habit that you follow, that is why I have told you earlier to make a habit scorecard. There you can use and then stake one another habit or attach one another habit with the same. This will definitely increase the odds of following that particular habit. Now the third thing is you design your environment, make the cues of the good habits obvious and visible. For example, you could have seen in the mega stores, the items at the eye level are very luxurious, you can say, or very branded one, because they are purchased more than those down near the floor. And why they are the branded one? Because the branded one makes the most profit, so they put the most expensive one in front, so that ki do jo bhai, it is very famous that ki jo dikhta hai wahi bikta hai. So this is the case. The thing that would be in front of you and that would be most obvious, it is most likely to follow also. So for example, if you want to practice guitar, so if you place that guitar in the middle of the living room, the frequency of practicing your guitar will definitely increase. If you want to drink more water, fill up a few more bottles each morning and place them in common locations around the house. Definitely you are going to drink more water than your previous one. Again, these are my own ideas. You can create your own. Moving ahead, uh, I would say ki the same technique we can use the inverse of it to make any habit disappear. That is following the inversion of the first law that says ki make it invisible. And how it works? It works on a simple philosophy that ki resisting temptation is hard. Avoiding the same is very easy. How it is? If you have could seen if you are reading and you have placed your mobile phone in front of you and at the same time notification of your mobile is on, so any WhatsApp will come. It is very hard for any WhatsApp message will come, and it is very hard for you to resist yourself to not open that particular message. However, it is better to put the phone in the next room or in the other room, and you are studying quite there. So this way you can design your environment so that the habit that interrupt you to follow your particular routine will simply disappear in front of your eye. Reframe your mindset, highlight the benefits of avoiding your bad habits. I would say that if you can't seem to get any work done, leave your phone in another room for few hours. Definitely you are going to do that work. If you are playing too many video games, unplug the console and put in a closet after each use. Definitely the odds of you playing that particular video game will decrease, because here I have told you queues are the most important thing. Since I have also told you that queues are becomes complicated, they becomes a combination of both. So I will not say these are going to just finish just by putting your video game in a closet. However, definitely the frequency of using your video game will definitely increase. So if you want to follow anything, make it very obvious in your environment. If you want to not, if you don't want to follow a habit, that is make it invisible. Now, here you have 25% mastery over habits formation. And now moving ahead to our next goal, that would be 50%. So the second law says key make it attractive. Now let me give you some of the evidence. Let me prove that how making it attractive is going to help. So the second thing in our habit loop was craving. After Q, it was craving. If we don't crave for anything, we are not going to follow it. So if a thing is attractive, definitely the craving for it is going to increase. So what is that? I will let me give you an example. Earlier, what you used to say, na, that's chewing gums. These chewing gums are in the market, I think, for 200 years, but they were not in very common. However, from the last, I would say 100 years or 120, there was a scientist. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name. He has added flavor into it. Huh? So when he added flavor into it along with some juice, so what happened when we chew it? It becomes more attractive to juice. You get some. Yeah, I would say filling of that flavor. At the same time, you get the juice. So definitely, the market of this chewing gum grows. Similar kind of strategy are also followed by this toothpaste makers. They used to add flavors. Actually, flavors are not going to work anyway on your teeth. They may harm too, but we follow the toothpaste that gives us the best flavor. And some people avoid. For example, I have seen a very number of people avoiding Pepsodent because its flavor is not. The after effect of it is slightly unsoothing. So anything that is attractive, as given in the above two example, is going to be followed. So we can use the same law to our favor by following methods. Moving ahead, that is, he use temptation bundling. Temptation bundling you can use in a similar way. It works on the idea that more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors. For example, you will become conditioned to do if it means you get to do something you really want to do along the way. Suppose you want to read news at the same time you are a fan of sports and you want to watch cricket. So what you can do, after I read two news or two headlines deeply, I will watch 5 hours of cricket, then repeating the same. Definitely your odds of following news will going to is definitely going to increase, because this temptation bundling is a scientific thing and it always works. And again, you are using if you use it with the earlier way that I have told you, habit stacking, you are going to make it into your routine for something that is very hard to follow. This I have only give you one example. However, news is easy to read, but if you have anything very hard to follow, attach it with something that you want to follow. Like you don't want to do push-ups, but say whenever you have urge to use your social media, you will do 10 push-ups, then watch your social media. In this way, this following your 10 push-ups or following news will become definitely easy for you. The second thing is join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. What happens? Usually we follow three people, three types of people. Number one, who are very close to us, like our mother, father, even our siblings. Number two, we follow those who, we follow that everyone follows, like many we can say. So we are a people of herd and group, so we want to be a part of them. So definitely we follow what everyone follows. And third thing we follow is we follow the most powerful one. So taking the second point into consideration that used to follow the group. So if you have joined a culture where your desired behavior is a normal behavior, your odds of following that particular behavior increases. As you can have seen here in NFA itself, I have seen I used to coordinate a group, I do NFA 18 and NFA 30, and I have seen over a period of time, here everyone who comes whose general knowledge or general awareness level is quite high than the average person. It is only because they have followed the people who were earlier in the group who has good general knowledge and general awareness. Now here is the third thing: create a motivational ritual. This motivation ritual, I summarize it in a 3P strategy. I say this is a 3 point strategy. If you want to follow a habit that you found a little bit unattractive, what you can do is highlight three benefits of it that it is going to give you. So if you highlight three benefits of it, it will gravitate you to sit and follow that particular habit or whatever it is. Or you can slightly re-script what you say in your mind. For example, earlier when I used to exercise, I used to say myself, yeah, it is very strenuous, huh? So definitely I follow them, but it is with there was a lot of gravity in there, so I don't you are used to fall back again in my inert position. Now I have re-scripted it, and I used to say myself that this is not distance, it is going to give me energy, and definitely after a period of time it has given me. So just by simply transcripting, the gravity has reduced, and I used to follow exercise routine every day. So you can also find this 3P strategy where you can tell yourself how to the benefits of the particular activity that you want to follow, and definitely your odds of following that particular habit is going to increase. Moving ahead, that is the inversion of this particular law is make anything you don't want to follow unattractive. There are thousands of ways to doing so. However, I will highlight some of the ways which a writer has told. So here it is. I will say ki you will follow inversion of the 3P strategy. Earlier you have used 3 points to motivate yourself. Now you will use 3 points to demotivate yourself to follow a particular habit. So highlight the three demerits of whatever bad habits you want to avoid. For example, some people have a bad habit of taking a cigarette. So if you highlight three major demerit of this cigarette while you have an urge to do so, definitely your odds of following that particular habit is going to decrease. So now I would say ki you have 50% mastery over habit formation. I think when you will reach 75%, you will become a pro one, and after 100%, definitely no need to ask. Moving ahead, I would say key this is the third part, that is the response in the habit loop. After cue, then craving, then response, the actual activity we perform. And I think it's the most important one. And here I will share a number of ideas that are definitely going to work on a root level. So before that, let me tell you one more example. So there was in University of Florida, what happens ki teacher has divided his students in two groups, and everyone on the left side of the classroom were in the one group, and the right side were in the one group. And he explained ki those on the left side, they are the quantity group, and they would be graded solely on the amount of work they produced on the final day of the class. He would tally the number of photos submitted by each student. 100 photos would rate an A, 90 photos B, 80 photos C, and so on. Meanwhile, everyone on the right side of the group would be in the quality group. They would be graded only on the excellence of their work. They would only need to produce one photo during the semester, but to get an A, it had to be a nearly perfect image. Now, again, the results at the end of the term, as the teacher was surprised, I think you all would also be surprised. She was surprised to find that all the best photos were produced by the quantity group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting with them, composition, lighting, testing out various methods in the dark room, and learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating hundreds of photos, they owned their skill. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around speculating about perfection. In the end, they had little to show for their efforts other than unverified theories of their own and some of the mediocre photos. Again, this happens in our lives too. It is easy to get bogged down, try to find the optimal plan, the fastest way to lose weight, the best program to build muscle, the perfect idea for a side hustle. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around taking action. That is why I have written there: the best is the enemy of the good. And I think every one of you know he only action yield results. However, most of us find it hard to take action, and that is why I'm here to make it easy. Moving ahead, this make it easy. What this make it easy does, it's definitely make it easy. So I think it is not humorous. So the first point is reduce friction, decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits. So this friction thing, we are always a creature who wants to perform an activity that took least effort. So what happens key, this is something that you can utilize for your own benefit. This app developers to utilize. Let me give an example. It will become more concrete. App developers used to do what now? By following the principle of reducing the steps, what they do, for example, in online payment, they reduce the steps it takes to do online payment so that more people will perform or more times you will perform the activity. So less the number of steps, the more is the probability that you are going to perform that. So here the key takeaway is whatever activity you want to follow, reduce friction of it. And whatever activity, sorry, we will discuss the bad part in the head, focusing upon the present. That is, whatever activity you want to follow, reduce the friction of it. I let me give you an example. It will cover the first and second points both. What happened now? The Japanese companies, I think in the 19th century, sorry, 20th century, I will say. What has happened there? Japanese companies was manufacturing at a rapid pace. They are manufacturing at almost 5 times to that of the American companies, in particularly in televisions. What they have done actually, there was a person who has directed their industries in such a way that he said to remove all the scrap from your industry. There must not be a single piece of garbage. Every tool that you use must be placed at a particular location, and that particular location should be easy to reach. And for everyone this should be known, and everyone should learn where each and every of your tools are there. What was the benefit of it after removing all the this garbage and scrapping all whatever there was industry? Their workers have not to find anything twistingly. For example, ऐसे पहले क्या होता था कि they have to हाँ यार वहाँ है, let me search like that. हाँ, तो अब since there was no garbage and all, so it was very easy to get the tool. So definitely their pace of manufacturing increases. So here is the key takeaway. If you are going to prime your environment, prepare your environment to make future action easier, definitely your odds of following that particular action increases. Let me give you example of both. So if you want to reduce friction, you can do one thing: join a gym which is in the path of your office or nearby your home. Definitely, again, the odds are going to increase. When it comes to prime the environment, you can do a number of things. For example, you want to draw more, put your pencils, pens, notebooks, and whatever drawing tools you have on top of your decks before you start the activity or before the last activity you have performed. So definitely when you return to your room, the odds of following this drawing activity are going to increase. If you want to exercise, set out your workout clothes, shoes, gym bag, whatever it you have, or the water bottle ahead of time. Definitely you are going to in the gym, and when you have gone, you are going to perform. Or I will say ki if you have set up, you will read book after the online class. Place a book on table before you leave the room for a break after class. When you return, you will be more likely to read a book instead of using your phone. So prime the environment, reduce the friction, and decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits. Definitely you are going to follow. Now here is a decisive moment. Decisive moments I need to explain in such a way that for example, you are coming back to your study table after a break and you see your phone and you say yourself, yeah, I will just check the social media updates and I will leave it after 5 minutes. However, the chances of that you leave after 5 minutes are very less, and you will completely get off track from your whatever routine you are following. So this is the decisive moment. If you have not picked up on your phone, definitely you are going to follow the routine whatever you have placed. Again, let me give you one more example. Suppose you are on track and suddenly one of your friend called to have a chit chat in nearby park, nearby home. So it is more probable if you go there, then your this particular day ends unproductive. So these are the decisive moments. Be super conscious at them. By super conscious, I mean to say कि if you have taken one right decision, definitely this particular right decision is going to yield again remarkable results. That is, you have to divert the attention at this particular decisive moments. They are the most important decisions you made in the whole day that makes your day productive or unproductive. Now here is the best thing that I have found out throughout this book, and this I think you too will found, is the 2 minute rule. Downscale any of your habit until they can be done in 2 minutes or less. This is a super amazing technique, I would say. I have followed a number of activities from this 2 minute activity, and I am currently following them. So I am able to follow them. I think it is just because of the 2 minute rule. So what happens na ki initially in excitement we end up doing too much, and eventually it becomes less repeatable as it looks drowning or strenuous or time taking. So होता क्या है कि शुरू में if you want to learn Spanish, you see a number of words, and since the initial words are very easy, so you learn a lot of words, and suddenly you have seen कि you have if in order to move ahead to the next part, you have given 2 hours to it. The next day, what will happen ki when you sit down to read Spanish, or you have done a number of works and there is only 1.5 hours left for Spanish, you are not going to follow it most probably, because you will say कि यार पिछले दिन तो इतना मेहनत करने के बाद 2 घंटा लगा था, तो today is only 1.5 hours. Actually, this happens with each one of us. So what we can do to remove this tendency and follow any habit that we want is कि use this 2 minute rule. Devise anything you want to follow a 2 minute way ki how to do this particular thing in 2 minutes. So if you want to read before bed each night, say it, read only one page. If you want to do 30 minutes of yoga, take on your yoga mat and do only one asana. If you want to study for your class, open your notes only. You will say it is very easy to read one page, it is very easy to do one asana, it is very easy to just open your notes and close them down. It is very easy. The idea here is na, to make your habit as easy as possible, to start as easy in the starting. And because anyone can this read one page, anyone meditate for 1 minute, and I think anyone can do one asana like that. What happens na ki anytime before you follow a habit, first it needs to be stabilized. And once you have taken a decision to follow a habit, the odds of continuing that habit is going to increase. Huh? Why it is so कि what happens ना कि we actually didn't take a decision to sit upon the table to study. We get deviated, यार ये तो बड़ा strenuous था, या ये बड़ा ये था. But if we say to ourselves only 2 minutes, these 2 minutes are going to easy, and when you are on the table, your odds of following it for long times is going to increase. But leave it for now. Just focus upon the first 2 minutes. Whatever the habits you want in your day, you want to start, just set a goal for 2 minutes. And when you have set on the table, tell me after 14 or 15 days, every day following the routine, once the routine is stabilized, you are going, you are going to not stop there. You are going to follow it for more time, and definitely you will get into routine too. Even if you have increased the timings, that would be the end goal, because 2 minutes cannot be a goal. The timings would be whatever your goal wants. But if your focus is on the initial 2 minutes, the gravity, the inertia that you have to not follow it will decrease, because you said these 2 minutes are very easy. So use it in your life. I will tell in any one more session, if I get a chance, I will explain it bit further, or I will give you some more examples. But before that, I want you all to experiment it. This is going to benefit you. I think anything that has benefited you, more than anything that has benefited you till now, this 2 minute rule. Follow it religiously, and I think you are going to get results. Moving ahead, that is the inversion of the same. That is, increase the friction or the number of steps between you and your bad habits which you want to avoid. For example, let me tell you an example of Instagram. So if you use Instagram as an app, uninstall the app, use the web version of the Instagram, and use the web version in incognito. What are the benefits of it? Let me tell you. Earlier, when you just have to open your phone with your fingerprint sensor, then you have to just simply click on your Instagram app and you begin scrolling and watching reels. It is very easy, just two-step process. Now what you have done, you have shifted the same in the web version, even in the incognito. So every time you have to open your browser, step one, open the incognito tab. Step 2, then open Instagram. Then third step, then put on your email ID and password. That is the fourth step. Then you have to click upon a window where you want to save your password or not. This is the fifth step. Then only your Instagram is going to open. So you have taken 5 steps to open an Instagram. Next time your odds of opening the same Instagram is going to decrease. So this is just an example to increase your friction in whichever bad habit you want to avoid. Definitely your odds of following it is going to decrease. Now use a commitment device. Restrict your future choices to the ones that benefit you. This is the second point. Commitment device, let me explain. Commitment device can be any. What happens ki there are browser add-ons. You can say if you want to use you want watch Netflix or you watch whatever social media, तो होता क्या है कि everyone say just 1 minute more or just 2 minute more, हाँ, like that you say, and eventually it ends up hours. So you can use a browser add-on which eventually cut your connection of social media after 5 minutes. So when it is cut down, it is most likely to be avoided. Or you can make a commitment device or a person, you can give your mobile phone to your mother, or whatever things that avoids you to anyone who can avoid you from who can avoid it from you. So definitely your odds of following the same are going to or following the same are going to decrease. So in this way you are going to, by making it difficult, avoiding, you will avoid the habit. By making it easy, you are going to follow any habit that you want. So here you have given 75% of mastery. Now for coming to the last 25%, moving ahead, that is the fourth law that says ki make it satisfying. Now what happens, I have told you earlier ki we every time what happens ki we follow the habit just for reward. So here what happens ki this reward, if it is satisfying we follow this, if it is not satisfying we don't follow it. Using the same idea we are going to form our particular habit. What happens na ki with bad habits the immediate outcome usually feels good, but the ultimate outcomes is always bad. And same is the case for the good habits. The reverse happens. The immediate outcomes feel bad, but the ultimate outcomes feels good. Let me explain it here with the example of I would say a simple example ki you are doing 10 push-ups every day. It is a little bit strenuous and drowning. It is not going to give you an immediate benefit, but definitely it is going to give you benefit after a couple of months. Same is true for fast food. You are avoiding it 1 day, 2 day. It is not going to give you anything, but after a couple of days, you will get light on your face and all, a good psych and a good shape. So this is going to help you in the long run. What happens na ki, for example, take example of Nehru sir. Here he has no problem in following his routine. But instead of he used to tell that instead of following this rum and rummy culture of army, he used to read a book and sleep early. So what happens ki why he is able to do so, why he is not problem in doing so after a particular period of time, after following your good habits, that is after a couple of months they give you some visible or results or some satisfaction. So it is very likely since you have get to know about this satisfaction at the same time, the visible thing, that is the psyche of Karan Nehru sir or the knowledge he have. So you have got the satisfaction that after following this, I am going to get all this. So definitely you will follow. But initially, when you do push up or you read book, you have again same, the knowledge would not be much. Again, your psyche would not be that good. So initially, you need something as a reward to follow. So here I am going to make use of the same key. Initially make a reward system where you will get a reward on following any particular thing. Then your odds of following the same thing is definitely going to increase. So what happens na ki we are more likely to repeat a behavior with the experience is satisfying, which I have told you earlier. And there is a cardinal rule in behavior chain. Let me explain this particular cardinal rule. And key, what gets immediately rewarded gets repeated, and what is immediately punished gets avoided. So what happens ki here I would say ki let me give you an example of Stephen Levy, a public health worker. He was posted in, I think what was there? It was Islamabad. Islamabad is a city in Pakistan, and what has he done there is this is Stephen Luby. He has found that the health and sanitation position of Islamabad was very poor. A lot of people live in slums, and there are high cases of diarrhea and other diseases that used to other infectious diseases, because they used to very easily flow very easily there because of very close contact of people, or this happens in each and every slum. So what he has done na, he realized that every people here, if they wash their hands properly, this lot of things are going to cut down. This all the things or this contagious diseases are definitely their chances of their rate of increase is going to fall down, and also the people who get affected are also going to come down. So he has get an idea that the people here know the benefits of washing a hand, but they are altogether not washing it. Either some people are not washing it, some people are not washing it properly, and some people are just वो कहते हैं ना कोरम पूरा करना, just put their hand inside the water and that's removed out. So what happened, this person was a really creative. He has done one particular thing. He has done a negotiation with Procter and Gamble company, which provides safeguard soap to the people for free. And what happened after that? This safeguard soap was a very prestigious soap in Pakistan society, and also it has a very it gives much foam when you wash your hands with it, and it's I will say smell is very good. So what happens when people have washed their hands with this, and they had followed it because since it gives good form, they have washed their hands for quite a bit of time, and also since it was very the smell was very good, so they used to wash their hands a number of time in the day. So just by making this particular behavior of washing their hands more satisfying, he has made the rate of diarrhea fell by 52%, pneumonia by 48%, and impetigo, a bacterial skin infection, I would say, by 35%. And the long-term effects are even better. So stories like this na, are evidence of the cardinal rule of behavior. What is rewarded is repeated. So I would say the role of the fourth law among first three is that the goal of the first three laws of behavior change, that is make it obvious, make it attractive, and make it easy, increases the odds that you will perform this behavior this time. However, the fourth law of behavior change, that is make it satisfying, increases the odds that a behavior will be repeated next time. It completes here the habit loop. So moving ahead, I would say the laws or the techniques which you can follow to build the habit by keeping this the knowledge that I've shared previously. So use reinforcement, that is immediate reward. So give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit, as mentioned earlier, or you can let me give an example here. If you want to use social media, or you have an urge to use social media, you can use the same habit stacking formula here also. You will do 10 push-ups, then only you will follow your social media. The second thing is make doing nothing enjoyable. So doing nothing, how this can be enjoyable, let me give you an example. For example, you want to this about taking cigarettes, so instead of taking cigarettes, what you do, when you are not taking cigarettes, you are doing nothing. So we have to make this enjoyable. How this can be enjoyable is every time you feel an urge to take a cigarette, or you used to take cigarettes in your day, use the same uh, rupees or the amount in which that particular cigarette will cost, and save it into your piggy bank or a saving account, and label this piggy bank or saving account simply leather jacket or anything else. So you would say ki over time this piggy bank is going to increase, huh? And you would be saying that it is enjoyable because after a particular period of time you are going to get a leather jacket, and at the same time your bad habit of this taking a cigarette is going to avoid this. You can use in other purpose also, where you can uh, uh, track a particular habit. तो track a particular habit में क्या होगा कि when you see your habit fulfilling, when you see you are following your habit, then the odds of following it increases. How it happens कि let me tell you, I have told you कि we have completed 25% of the task, 50% of the task, 75% of the task. So if there are people who want to leave at 75%, they don't want to leave because कि यार 25% है तो बताए चलो देख लेते हैं. So they have seen कि we have completed 75%. So make your whatever you habit you want to achieve a little bit visible in front of your eyes. You can cross your daily streak in a calendar. What happens ki since you have seen ki there was a streak of 10 days, even if there is a day you don't want to follow, you will, because you are visibly seeing something ki you have done it for 10 days and you would definitely want to extend. So if there is a habit tracker, the chances of you following a particular habit are going to increase. So make a habit tracker that is visible in nature. Again, your creativity, you can create anything. So moving to the last point, that is never miss choice. Obviously, no matter how consistent you are with your habits, it is inevitable that life will interrupt you at some point. Perfection is not possible. Nehru sir also used to say this particular thing. He there are times when some of my students call and I have a 1.5 hour talk with him. I lost my routine at that particular day, but it happens with everyone, and we have to get back as easily as we can. So I will say, na, ki, if it is missed for a month, it is okay, but don't let it miss twice. Use everything any effort you can to make that this particular habit is must not be missed the second time, because missing once is an accident, but missing more than one or a number of times is definitely start of a particular new habit, and that would be definitely a bad one. So moving to the last slide, I would say how this same technique can be used to avoid bad habits. That is inverse of the fourth law. So I have said earlier कि what is rewarded is repeated. If something is painful, it is not repeated. So if a failure sounds painful, it will get fixed. But if a failure is relatively painless, it gets ignored. So you can create a punishment system for your own self, where you can make your little bit not following your particular habit or a bad habit, performing a bad habit, some degree of painful. Don't make this painful in any vague term. Take this key, for example, let me give an example. Ki you can do 10 extra push-ups if you have followed your bad habit at that particular day, after you are completely exhausted in your daily exercise. So this will tell you that key this push-ups you are only doing, it is because you have performed a bad habit. So next time when the chances are low. You can also follow in a similar way ki have an accountability partner. So knowing someone else is watching you can be a powerful motivator. So what happens ki any kind of public display of commitment or personal contracts with your inaction. तो ये होता क्या है कि any personal contact with your peers, it can create an immediate cost to inaction. तो होगा क्या कि we usually care deeply about what others think of us, so we do not want others to have a lesser opinion of us. So definitely, if you are making any accountability partner and tell them about your goal or whatever habit you want to achieve or avoid, chances of you following the same are going to increase. And all can be combined in which what is known as habit contract. So create a habit contract to make the cost of your bad habits public and painful. A habit contract can be used to add a social cost to any behavior. So it makes the cost of violating your promises public and painful. So again, as I said, key knowing that someone else is watching you can be a powerful motivator. So this is going to work. So that's all from my side. After taking sir and ma'am's comment over it, I am very open to questions. You may ask any.
You have covered it very well. I have no further comments to offer. Thanks a lot. You are open to questions as far as I am concerned.
Thank you, sir.
So regarding the part with the where we say that we must make the behavior enjoyable. Like what are the some ways like one can make behavior enjoyable? And let's say someone is trying to leave some bad habit that is very enjoyable to him, right? And they want to make it very hard and they want to make it less enjoyable. So like what are some key ways? Because if someone is addicted, then it's very difficult to do it practically. Like it's not really that effective. So what can we do in that aspect?
Of course, if someone is addictive and he is not in a position to do anything, then definitely I am not in a position to help him. He needs to be at a psychiatrist. However, if he is in a position to do something, then by following this simple thing, he can avoid it. First of all, he have to remove all the cues that, and he has to become aware that what triggers him to perform that particular habit. So he needs to avoid all these cues that are in his surrounding, whatever will give him a signal of following that particular thing. So first of thing, make them literally invisible. Then make use of the 3-point strategy. Tell the three whenever you find an urge before following, tell yourself 3 things to why it is dangerous for you, and then follow it. Then definitely the next time your odds of following it will reduce. Then make it very hard. Whatever you follow, make it very hard to follow. Either hide it somewhere, you have to open it, or anything like that you can use. Since I'm not knowing what specifically you are talking about, so I'm giving a vague opinion. And the fourth thing is, make it unsatisfying. Give yourself some painful punishments, or use a commitment device, like tell your friends and family that I'm not going to do this. So when you are going to follow, they will catch you, and definitely they will form a lesser opinion about you, though, which everyone avoids. In these 4 ways, I think you can avoid it completely.
Thanks, Satyam. That was helpful.
Actually, Akash, the process is going to be slow, so be patient.
Right. One more point I would like to add to this point. I find it very much correct. Just one point I would like to add is I read somewhere that sometimes most of the habits, even like ones related to procrastination or someone falling into bad habit, is again related to what kind of story they tell themselves. Like, what do they think about themselves?
Yeah,
If
sure.
it's quite related to the self-image they have for themselves, as like it has been given in that book Atomic Habits as well. Like, we must first strive to change the story that we tell us about ourselves, like we are this kind of person and we are this kind of thing. And once we change that story, we should also take actions that that make sure that we are becoming that kind of person. And of course these habits then help in changing that story. So once we've done that, then the person doesn't go back into that habit.
Yeah, sure, Akash, you are right.
Okay, thanks, man.
Aditi, how did you find you asked a question or just some comments?
So the session was very informative, and all the doubts were cleared itself in the session. So I don't think anybody will have any question related to that.
Thank you. Yes. He was very comprehensive in his talk because he kept giving examples. That's a very good way of covering things.
And everything was very scientific as well. So
Yes. Practical baat kiya bilkul.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then thank you very much. Thanks for your time. On behalf of all the students, thank you very much, Satyam. You covered it very well. And for all of you participating, thanks a lot. And
Yeah, sir.
take care then. God bless. Bye-bye.